Hi, welcome to Daily Spark, day 46. This is Sunday, February 15th, a day off. How does my breathing pattern influence my emotional range? How does my breathing pattern influence my emotional range? Okay, so the past couple weeks, I've been noticing a lot of breath resetting just naturally happening in my body. So it's funny this question came up. It's not funny because it feels like every question has this like way of landing after I've already been like these things have already been like creeping into my awareness, which is so funny because I don't know what questions are coming. I don't know them. I love the universe so much. Don't you? Oh my God. How does my breathe? So anyway, I've been doing like breath resets without not feeling, what do I mean by that? Just like that. Like it's usually one big breath filling my whole cavity to the capacity I can in that moment. It's usually, in through my nose, out through my mouth. And it feels like such a grounding, settling, coming back to my body. Usually because I'm filling it up, I can feel the tissues stretching, expanding, and coming back. And so to me, I think when I say grounding, I mean like grounding into the present moment. I feel like we got to add more context to these spiritual words, these words that get thrown around in the communities of everything but Western-based logic, science, or So because grounding is actually gaining a lot of traction in science, like the grounding sheets, and it's literally plugging technology, like physical things, into an outlet into your sheet. You lay on it, and stuff happens. Your ions get exchanged. I don't know how it works. I've listened to a lot of podcasts, but I still. Anyway, I just went off on a tangent. But how does my breathing pattern influence my emotional range? So to me, I am like flooded with ideas lately of things I want to talk about. And for me, talking about them is an exploration. It's not sharing what I've learned. It's almost like I want to talk about it so I can learn something about it and have those aha moments. Those, I think they're dopamine hits for me. Like, yeah, I just had an aha learning moment. So anyway, so I'm getting flooded with so many curiosities. And this is one of them where like the breath, like the body, and we learn this in craniosacral therapy, has a way of resetting its own rhythms, and it does it several times a day. I put that thing I remember where I put it. Yeah, we're gonna do a separate video about this. This is good. So anyway, so I won't go down too far down this rabbit hole, but I feel like for me that big breath, just one. It's been just one lately. Is like I think what I've been needing for a lot of my life, because when I have ever I haven't been like a real one to focus on my breath. All I know is that in moments of distress, my breath goes everything just clamps down, closes, shuts, and then there's a panic of like, I can't breathe. So I think at this stage of my pathless path, something is intuitively telling me it's time for breath work. You know what? I even subscribe to some YouTube channels for these people who are highly recommended breathwork practitioners. I haven't deep dove in, whatever is that a word, into their content yet, but it's like, remember we talked about like bringing things forward into our awareness so that those habits are easier. The pathways become quicker to those things if they're more like, because if it's out of sight, out of mind, I'm not gonna, but if it's kind of in my periphery, then it's like, oh, I will click on that. So I'm kind of bridging two topics about like making things a little easier on ourselves to retrain our habits. And that was one of them, is like something intuitively inside of me is telling me it's time for breath work. Not a fan of the word work. I'm trying to like not totally eradicate it, but redefine my relationship with the word work, because we've talked about work. Oh, see, so many things we could talk about that are so illuminating. So anyway, my problem is staying on track. But don't you love little side quests, or the hint at little side quests? And then it's like, will they, won't they go there? Who's to say? So anyway, how does my breathing pattern influence my emotional range? I feel like without that reset, prior to the reset, I feel like something in me knows my emotional range is maybe shrinking. And I've been thinking in ranges a lot, like spectrums. Like maybe my emotional range is shrinking, and not toward the center. I mean, it might be shrinking like way up here or way down here, or in the middle, where it's just like maybe I'm like calm, pretty grounded, but like maybe I'm too like not as expansive as I could be with my range to take in more, to experience more, to feel more. Man, that's a whole other topic too, isn't it? That could be fun. So, but I feel like I've been noticing that big reset just naturally happening, even in the middle of a sentence with people. I don't even doesn't bother me to just sort of do a big breath and then continue my sentence. Because I think more and more people are craving authentic expression with each other. Or maybe I'm just the one craving it and putting it out into the universe so that I can see more of it. But no, I know it's true that more and more people are being more forthright with their desires about having authentic connection and expression. Maybe we don't have the language yet in the moment, because we're still like, that pathway isn't smooth yet, but we keep showing up with each other in expectation of like, let this interaction be different. Another topic, see? So anyway, that big breath, as long as I keep coming back, we're good, right? So that one big reset breath helps me feel like I can then, I'm expanding my range again. Okay, I'm back, where it's almost like my body and everything here just sort of like, now I'm back here after that big reset breath, and I can flow in the full range of emotion wherever I want to, whatever's desiring to be expressed in that moment. I'm not going to force it, but at least I'm now out of one little, what do you call a smaller part of a range, just section, I don't know. Then we're back. So that's what this makes me think of, because it's been happening a lot lately, where I just naturally take that big reset breath, and it feels like everything, I don't always think in terms of grounding, but that's essentially what it feels like, is that I'm grounding back into my body, grounding back into the present moment. And what does grounding even mean? That's a different topic too, but it's like, it feels like a downward rooting in kind of energy. Whereas like energy, it's usually like, it's always moving. And if we're letting it get a little away from us, like our attention is going different places in the mind, in the body, like attention and energy are dispersing, it's almost like I'm sucking it back in and pushing it down. It kind of feels like that sometimes. Or you know what sometimes I'll do? I have a big stick of sage in my studio, and between clients I'll just walk by it, and if I feel called to do so, I'll back up and bend down and sniff it, because it's very similar to that. Breathing in something earthy, something that brings to mind grounding. And that's why I like to use sage in my Reiki practice is because I don't believe it inherently holds, there's no belief around it for me. Like, I'm not attaching to the idea like I gotta have sage because it like clears the evil spirits from the room. No, everything is our intention with it. My intention with it. I mean, if that's your intention, maybe then you feel more, that brings you back to your center, and you can have that intention with your client to be a safe bubble for them for whatever comes up. It's more about where it's all, and that's another topic too. These things don't inherently hold mystical anything. It's all what we perceive it to be. And for me, what I perceive these things like crystals and sage and sweetgrass, and what else do I like to bring in that has different meanings for me? I don't know, it could be anything. I have so many things that I look at and I'm filled with an emotion, and then that's kind of getting back to this. So it's like sage for me, it's the smell that makes me feel like so connected to the earth. Like it's like a beautiful, usually there's like multiple sensation feeling kind of things in there, and it's not just earth. I could go like sniff a handful of dirt, jelly bean. It's like timeless, shamanic, like it open it both and it's the simultaneous like opening up from here into the unknown and grounding that down into the earth. It's like a bridge to me. I've never thought about that before. Oh my God, I love it. So anyway, these things like the breath, like that breathing in something and then, and some people, like I've done different breathwork practices over the years where it's like, you know, you do the left right where you kind of use your, I forget what it's called, and you don't make that noise either. But like that's a practice where you breathe in one nostril, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, and you know, and then box breathing, the same number of counts in, hold, out, hold, box, you know, and you can have rectangle breathe out, what they call it, where you have different counts. And if you attach to these things a little much, you might then start to expect certain outcomes based on the style of breathing, but that's just what works for you. It's not for everybody. Like some people are like, yeah, this does nothing for me, and I've given it a go, like, you know, concerted effort, or, you know, what do you call it, earnest, you know, effort. So it's like, that's why I don't think objectively anything holds the ultimate end all be all meaning or expected outcome of a certain practice. So that's what makes me think of breath work, is like when I say I'm going to start doing breath work, I'm just going to start breathing, then it means I'm going to go on an exploration of like how do I feel differently with each breath work practice? What does it do for me? And and like, how does it affect my emotional range? How does box breathing affect my emotional range? How does this, whatever this is called, affect my emotional range? They do feel a little different to me at different times. And that's the thing, is like, if I did them all in one day, would I be able to notice a difference? Or is it that day's mood that's influencing how I take in that experience? I don't know, and I like not knowing. Man, I love not knowing things. Isn't that a paradox with how I said I just want to learn everything, explore it together? So I think that's all that I want to say with this is, because I have been noticing it lately with the reset. The reset is important to me because it's not just a pattern. It's not just the pattern of the breath. It's like that one big whoosh expands my emotional range. And I can't really speak to like different breathing patterns because I can't remember how they've made me feel. But I'm about to go on that exploration, and I will share my findings like a good little scientist. So, yeah, what about you? If you do breath work practices, what do you notice? What works for you? And is it, you know what I also think about? Let's just end on this. It's like, whatever expectation I bring to something, is that what I get out of it? Sometimes. If I don't get that out of it, am I disappointed? Sometimes. Is that problematic? Sometimes. Food for thought. Yeah, thank you for being here.